This is perhaps one of our most favorite programs of the year. It brings together such a large number of community and business leaders to hear firsthand the great things happening in Eden Prairie. As you all know, Eden Prairie has received numerous awards and national recognition for being a great city to live, work, and play, and is through the efforts of the city, the schools, our businesses in achieving such high standards, but also of local individuals and other nonprofits that provide a great source of resources for area people and helps create such a great community. I want to start our program by recognizing a number of individuals with us for today. First, I want to thank our sponsors and have their representatives stand when I recognize them for their support. I hope everyone had a chance to visit their booths as you came in. If not, please stop on your way out. From Commuter Services, Michelle Leonard and Kate Meredith, welcome and thank you. From Wings Financial Credit Union, Fraser Andargay, Amanda Hobgood, and Chauncey Oliva. And Excel Energy, Nikki Casido, I hope I get that right, Nikki, and Tammy Anderson. And maybe just as important, having Excel Energy here is I understand they're piloting a new flex programming, price programming in Eden Prairie. So if you want to learn more, make sure you stop by their booth. Want to recognize some of the individuals that were able to join us today. Hennepin County Commissioner Jan Callison, welcome. And as some of you may know, Commissioner Callison is not seeking re-election, which I'm disappointed in, but fully understand. But I do want to say thank you for all your great service and support, not only of our businesses, but our community here, so thank you. State Senator Steve Swedzinski. And Senator Swedzinski will be joining us a week from today for our legislative breakfast, so welcome. Our 25th Athena Award recipient, Vicki Bomben from Prop Shop, is here today as well. Len Semich, who's the CEO of Southwest Transit and is working with us on a transportation summit later this spring. I know I saw Len over there. Welcome. Also, Blaine Peterson, who's the manager of Flying Cloud Airport and a great business resource for us. Our newest hotel that isn't quite open yet, but I know Ryan Gregory, the district manager, was able to join us today, so welcome. A few more components of our recognition. I want to thank my chamber staff who do just an amazing job. And they're with us today. I know Lori Brown, Paige Nault, way back. I can see them in the back. So, and then Kathy Piaski. All three just do amazing work for our members and our community. So thank you. Part of our ambassador leadership team is here today as well. I know Sandy Hayden from Guiding Project Leaders, who chaired our committee last year, and then also Sean Peace, who's co-chairing this year. If you give a wave. Board members that are with us today include Troy Knorr, Boulevard Wealth Management, Nicholas Rarich, First Western Bank, Maria Mancela Diaz, Republic Services, who also serves as our treasurer, Michael Scholl from Starkey Hearing Technologies, our incoming board chair, and also Josh Swanson, our superintendent. So thank you guys for joining us. And then at this time, just a final recognition. Want to thank one of our outgoing board members, Steve Bowman from Tiger Plumbing Heating and Air. Many of you probably recognize Steve as he attends almost every type of program that we host. And he has been a tremendous supporter of ours as a member of the board. And we want to thank you for your 4 years of service. And if you'd come up, and I'd love to give you your plaque. Three events to note in your calendars. A week from today, as I mentioned, we have our legislative kickoff breakfast. That'll be at Boulay. We'll be hearing from Senator Swedzinski, Representative Pryor, and Representative Katiza-Wathune as they discuss the upcoming session. On Thursday, February 13th, our Women's Networking Group will be holding its next program. The topic is emotional intelligence, and our featured speaker is Kristen Jonathan from the Prairie Project. And on Tuesday, March 10th, the Chamber will be holding its annual job fair at the high school. So if you're looking to hire high school students for the summer and beyond, please register for that program as well. Last year, we had over 700 high schoolers turn out for that job fair. Moving on into our presentation here today. The Eden Prairie Chamber, for many of you probably know this, but I always like to highlight it. We are a private nonprofit business association, and what that means, we're not affiliated with any government entities or others. We represent our business community and the members that support us. And the overview for us is we have 360 chamber members currently. They represent over 32,000 area employees. We count on our volunteers to help us with many of the programs, events, and activities that the Chamber does. We have over 85 of those volunteers that help us throughout the year. And then each year our programs generate a little over 6,000 in attendance at those. So last year, 2019, was our 50th year. As part of that celebration, you can kind of see a number of the highlights from that. We focused on providing some unique access, meaning CEOs of major employers, different companies hosting and providing tours and updates on their businesses here in Eden Prairie, and getting sneak peeks into areas that otherwise our businesses and our members wouldn't know about. At the same token, we continue to provide a number of opportunities on public policy issues and connecting with our elected officials. And then as part of that, what's going on in our community, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in our slides, but light rail is a key component of opportunity, as well as a few headaches right now with construction. But it's a great opportunity for us. And then now and into probably the distant future, the way it appears, is workforce issues for our businesses. All right. So tying into the workforce and leadership, this past year we put on our 4th annual Twin Cities Young Professionals Summit. We were fortunate enough to have Starkey Hearing Technologies host us. We had the chance to hear from their president as part of that program. And the Young Professionals event draws between 125 and 150 young professionals from across the Twin Cities region to learn, build new skills, learn new opportunities, as well as to make connections that they can utilize throughout their year and also in their professional career. Again, focusing on workforce, we know we aren't just going to magically create workers, but what we can do is provide a wealth of opportunities for our businesses to connect locally with our students, especially at the high school. We have a strong partnership with Eden Prairie Schools. The Job Fair and Career and College Expo that we put on each year has connected well over 100 different organizations to those students. This past fall, the Career Expo had over 1,000 students go through that. As I mentioned earlier, our job fair last year had over 700 students participate, and we saw a number of the businesses actually run out of job application forms as part of that program. Another program we're very proud of, we started this years ago. We were the first chamber in the nation to do an outreach and provide learning opportunities for high school seniors. It is our student internship program, our Future Leaders program. These kids you'll probably meet at different activities of ours. They look for job shadows. They get hands-on learning experience through being part of the chamber. And they volunteer at different events. And I know we have a packed house. We have a number of them in the back of the room. If the students would please stand, and let's give them a round of applause. If you haven't had a chance to talk with any of the student members, I would highly encourage it. They are amazing individuals, great future leaders. As we kick that program off, one of the things we always say is we want them back here working at Eden Prairie businesses and being our future leaders of our community. In terms of business growth opportunities the Chamber provides, one of the big focus areas is on smaller businesses and how can we help them be successful. So when we talk about business growth, it's really providing smaller businesses opportunities to network and connect. We hear from a number of small business members that the Chamber is their number 1, 2, or 3 generator each year in new leads for new clients. And that is exactly what we want to be able to do, is provide those types of opportunities to grow our local businesses. When we talk advocacy, that really falls into public policy as well as economic development, because if we have the right types of policies and relationships with elected officials, we are building a strong community and having our businesses be successful. I mentioned we have our breakfast next week. It's a great opportunity for our businesses to directly connect with our state elected officials and talk about issues important to them. But advocacy also means us providing a conduit to leadership in our elected officials. A great example of this occurred last year. How many of you have been to our new brewery, Fat Pants? All right, for those of you who have not, I would highly encourage you to go visit them. But last year, we worked with them. They had an issue with getting their federal approval on their licensing. It was delayed. We reached out to Congressman Phillips on their behalf, and the congressman made some inquiries. And literally within 48 hours, they had a phone call from the feds approving their license application. And it actually opened the brewery at least 90 days ahead of time. And so that's a huge deal for our business community. It is part of our role to make sure we can provide those connections and help businesses be successful. In terms of advocacy, you'll see more and more about the Federation priorities. Our chamber is one of probably about 40 or 45 different chambers throughout the state that are part of the Minnesota Chamber Federation. So you'll see these policies being listed in upcoming communications to you, and we'll have those listed on our website as well. So as we get into prosperity and business growth, one of the key focuses is to promote our community and make sure our businesses do well. This past year, we created our community guide as part of our 50th year, highlighting all the great things about Eden Prairie, as well as a focus on our members. We also did a bus tour to highlight economic development. And our tour guide, Dave Lindahl, is somewhere in the room. There you are. We're looking to do a similar event later this spring, early summer. And again, Dave is our economic development manager at the city, does a great job of explaining those types of development projects that are going on in Eden Prairie. Different events that we put on throughout the year to help our businesses be successful are listed here. And I want to jump into our annual survey results. So each year, we reach out to our businesses to get their feedback and report back at this program. And all solid news again this year. Net income for most of our businesses were up, particularly with smaller businesses. They had the most positive results, mid-size, very positive results. And in our larger employers, positive but some mixed results in terms of how their year fared. When we talked about sales expectations in 2020, again, all very positive signs across the board with our businesses. The number of employees as well, very positive throughout all 3 sectors. And then expected employment for the future, again, more growth with virtually no businesses expecting to reduce employee counts. And then when we start talking about the ability to find quality employees and job openings, there is still that ongoing factor of not being able to fill positions. And particularly larger businesses, some of the comments we received, not only through the survey, but in individual conversations, is looking for employees with the motivation, the soft skills. They're personable, they show up on time, they're ready to work and be good customer service and team players for the organizations. Mid-sized companies in the survey expressed more issues in terms of hiring, and their biggest issues, as they called out, were the increased costs with recruiting. So it's tougher and tougher to find people, so now they have to hire recruiters and other things to find those people. Some of the jobs that were listed included drivers, cooks, salespeople, skilled trades, accounting, and more, in terms of difficulties in finding employees. The economy, is it on the right track? The large percentage of our members say yes. The next percentage was uncertain. And this echoes probably the last few years of answers on our survey, that this is where our businesses have typically been. And then in terms of number one issue impacting our business from the choices below, what we have is large companies, healthcare costs were biggest impact, mid-sized company, educated workforce, and then taxes. And then small companies, the tied for first place, healthcare costs and taxes, and right behind that was government regulations. And again, I think those echo the conversations we have personally with businesses. Taxes are always brought up in our conversation in terms of Minnesota being a high tax state. In terms of revenue and employee outlook, again, things look very good in terms of what our businesses are telling us. Expected revenue increases, no reduction of employees expected, large number of respondents looking to hire moving forward. When we talked about changes in local issues, comments were lower taxes, which seems to be a theme every year. And then this year in particular, construction, which again maybe isn't that big of a surprise given that the activity related to Southwest LRT in Eden Prairie. So as I transition and wrap up our chamber presentation on this, number of events not to miss this year. We mentioned some of those already. The Twin Cities Young Professionals Summit is going to be April 24th. And we are very pleased to have Cargill as our host at their Hopkins Excelsior Crossings campus. Our golf tournament is right back here at Bear Path on June 8th. And then items of note, we will be hosting a transportation summit in April, and you'll see more and more promotion on that. And then candidate forums. This fall is an election year. We will be hosting a number of different candidate forums so our businesses and others can understand the candidates' positions and how they may support businesses and Eden Prairie. And then the final thing as I turn this over to Josh is we're very excited about a partnership that is with both the school district and the city and some other partners as well. Our mayor, I know, is not able to join us today. But shortly after his election, he has stepped up and wants to do more in terms of entrepreneurship for Eden Prairie. How can our city do more to support businesses that are starting up and getting those businesses here in Eden Prairie? And of course, we want them to be successful and grow and stay here. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Josh, our superintendent of Eden Prairie Schools.
I think we're ready to kick off here. And I'm going to start by rolling a short little video clip here for you. In Eden Prairie Schools, we work to inspire each student every day, and that's what drives our work. I get to work with some just absolutely fantastic people that help us work towards achieving that mission on a daily basis. And I want to take a moment just to introduce a few of those folks that are here before we dive into content today. I have two board members here. Director Terry Swartout. She can be recognized. I think I caught you with a full mouth too. Perfect. Okay. And Director Holly Link is also here today. I didn't see anybody else sneak in. If you did, okay. And I know that we had several other members who had last minute things come up. I also have an incredible cabinet that I get to work with on a daily basis. Dr. Stacy Stanley, Associate Superintendent for the school district, who works with our principals and our students. Dr. Christina Bemboom, who is the Senior Director of Student Support Services. Thank you. Dr. Sean Hoffman-Bram, who heads up Community Education. Michelle Ament, who heads up Personalized Learning for the district. Brett Johnson, who heads up our Communications and Community Relations. Jason Munzenberger, who takes care of all of our business services. And Tom May, who heads up Human Resources for the district. And we have Rob Virgin here today, principal of Eden Prairie High School as well. So students are not here unsupervised. You're in good hands. You know, I'm so proud to serve as the superintendent for Eden Prairie Schools. And of all the wonderful work that happens on a daily basis by our staff, to end up with terrific outcomes for our students. I'm also so appreciative of the partnership and getting to do this each year and work with Rick and work with Pat, because this doesn't happen in isolation. It happens because of the support that we have from community, from our parents, from our nonprofits, and the collaboration that exists across all of our environments. It's what truly makes Eden Prairie a special place. And that's recognized in so many different places. And I want to start off by talking a little bit about our niche ratings right now. I am so proud to say we are the only school district in the state of Minnesota to have straight A ratings across niche. That includes all of our districts that surround us. And so there is no other district that has straight A's across all these different areas. And you think about the complete programming and the complete opportunities that we offer our students with incredible academics, with incredible teachers, clubs and activities that are unrivaled. We have great diversity in our district that we celebrate. We have incredible college prep. We have lots of rigor. We have health and safety. Our sports, you've probably heard of. And we have support and resources because of our community and the support. That happens because of everyone in this room and everyone throughout the community. So I want to say thank you. And also, I want you to know that this does not reflect complacency in any way. It means that we're continually looking at how do we get better? How do we do things more effectively? How do we make sure that we continue the tradition of excellence we have, and we work really hard to inspire our students on a daily basis? One of the ways we do that is that we have really low class sizes. The community supported in 2014 a levy that allowed us to lower our kindergarten and first grade class sizes to among the lowest in the entire metro area. That means our teachers have more time to work individually with kids one-on-one and make sure that we personalize and tailor instruction. The board followed through with commitment in subsequent years to lower our second grade class sizes, our third grade class sizes, and our fourth grade class sizes. I get to talk with teachers on a regular basis, and I hear all the time about the impact that low class size makes on ensuring that our teachers truly get to connect, know each of our students, and spend that extra time. I also see that in action as I'm in classrooms, and I see our teachers working in really small groups or with small groups of students, one-on-one with students, because with those class sizes, they can manage that to make sure that the environment and the outcomes and care for students is in place on a daily basis. That means we're able to do some really important work. Along with creating that great climate, we're continuing to see great results. We continue to see achievement gaps close as we look at various scores, like our third grade reading scores as we measure a triangulated measure across the district. And so all students are improving, and we see gaps closing for our students across racial and socioeconomic lines. We also continue to see a really high level of our graduates go on to post-secondary learning, and they thrive when they're there. So they're really prepared and ready to go so they can complete that post-secondary education at a high rate. And we know that that is so important as we continue that tradition of excellence. You know, that doesn't happen by chance. Our students have incredible opportunities. Let's just talk a little bit about Eden Prairie High School for a moment. We have over 277 courses that are offered in that course catalog for our students. You know, and we continue to improve that. Our staff and our students continue to come up with new ideas about what those courses look like. Some of our newest offerings and our rigorous offerings are across the humanities, across the art, across technology and information, leadership and impact, looking at future workforce, partnerships that we've put in place to make sure that we have vocational options and trade options for our students. And we offer options for middle years college program where our kids are getting college credit. You know, we have a luxury here in Eden Prairie schools for our students that they engage in a block schedule, which actually offers them more classes that they get to take throughout their high school opportunity. And the wonderful part about that schedule is it also allows that schedule to be responsive to our students' interests and gifts and talents, to be able to explore things and future opportunities they might be interested in and that align with their gifts and talents. And so, you know, some of those things you can see on the screen cross into cybersecurity or justice singers, looking at the science of happiness. We have an incredible statistics and data sciences course, innovation science, and we're offering over 20 AP courses and online and blended courses, as well as vocational and technical education to our students. This sets our students up for success. And our students make us really proud as they leave Eden Prairie. One way we support that future work is by providing rigorous opportunities where they get to experience some of that rigor of post-secondary work and get credit for it while they're still in high school. We offer college in the schools, post-secondary educational opportunities, or you might have heard PSEO is often the acronym that's used. We offer advanced placement classes and other college credit-bearing classes. And so if you just look at the statistics from this past year, we had 733 students take AP exams this last spring. 35% of the graduating class left with one score of 3 or higher, which is the number that typically is taken as a college-bearing credit from that AP exam. 82% of the students that were taking that AP exam are receiving college credit for that exam. So there is a ton of success here, and this is just for our AP side of those college credits. Those are staggering numbers for a high school. And let's talk just a moment about the impact that has on families and finance. When you look at translating those credits that our students earn in high school into dollars and cents with 1,215 advanced placement credits earned, if you take the average tuition here in the state of Minnesota across all of the various public educational environments, that's the equivalent of $822,000 in college credit that our kids graduated with last year. If you take and put that into terms with college tuition, or average college tuition across the private environment, it's over $5 million in college credit that our senior class walked out with last year because of those rigorous opportunities here in high school. That's a big impact on our families and our students. And our students get recognized for that. We had 16 Eden Prairie High School students that were National Merit semifinalists last year. That is the top 1/2 of 1% of the juniors that took the PSAT last fall. We have quite a streak here. We have an 11-year streak of having at least a student with perfect ACT. We had 3 students last year with a perfect ACT, and I know that number is going to say 12 last year because just yesterday I found out we have another student that had a perfect ACT this year. Again, that doesn't happen by chance. You know, it happens because our staff are working towards offering world-class experiences. that are facilitated by them. You know, as an example of that, I had the opportunity to go listen alongside our high school students as our Minnesota Orchestra performed for them in our PAC here at the high school, our Performing Arts Center. And it was just an incredible performance where our Minnesota Orchestra came in and talked about the music and the history and the stories, brought that to life for our students through that performance, and then at the end took time with our kids to answer questions and engage in dialogue. And a few weeks later, we actually had the principal trumpet player of the Minnesota Orchestra come back, and I got to have breakfast with him as he was presenting at one of our events, and he couldn't believe the supportive culture that he felt here in Eden Prairie Schools and the tremendously thoughtful questions that our students asked and the interactions just demonstrated the talent that's here. And so, you know, our staff does an amazing job of thinking about and designing those opportunities to meet our students' needs on a daily basis. And our staff get recognized for that as well. Eden Prairie High School was recognized with the Meritorious Orchestra Program Award, closely aligned there with their performance. Janine Olson at Central Middle School received the Minnesota Middle School Educator of the Year Award. Kathy Backenstedt, also a middle school teacher, received the National Science Teachers Association Exemplary Teaching Award. Mike Grant at the high school received the John Gagliardi Legacy Award. We had Jen Heyer at Cedar Ridge Elementary receive a Presidential Innovation Award for Environmental Education. And this year we had 7 nominees and 1 semifinalist for the State Teacher of the Year Award as well. I just am so appreciative of the great work that our staff do on a daily basis. It doesn't happen without the support of the community. On behalf of students and families and staff, I'm so appreciative of that support. I want to thank the community for both passage of our 2014 levy, which continues to allow us to do this work, and of the 2019 bond referendum that we just passed this past spring. And so let's talk about finance for a moment here and fiscal stewardship. So there's 2 bars up on this, this chart here. This was payable taxes in 2019, so last year. On that average home value here in Eden Prairie was, the school portion of the taxes was $1,702. We just passed approximately a $40 million bond. If you take that same house and the house didn't value up, our taxes this year are $1,662 on that same house. So we passed a bond and our taxes went down in that relatively assessed value. That's because of the great partnerships that we're celebrating today. It's because we have a vibrant city. It's because we have a vibrant Chamber of Commerce and business community. It makes Eden Prairie a great place to live and an incredible value when you think about the quality of life here for our residents. And so this is quite a lot to celebrate. And I'm going to forecast that Rick probably has a very similar slide, but when you talk about that in comparison to communities around us, here is where that lines up. So you can see that as we look at our neighboring communities here in Eden Prairie, you think about the quality and the value. Our taxes are right down towards the bottom on that average home relative to our other neighbors, and so we remain one of the lowest taxes for the quality of education here as we look on that average home. So let's turn a little bit about the things to come then. So the bond passed in May. We had the highest passage rate in 25 years as a school district on that bond. And that passed on May 14th. On May 15th, we went to work. And I just want to thank so many people in the room here because we've been working really closely and collaboratively with so many people from the city to put us in a good place, to make sure that this is planned and designed really well. And so we started that work immediately around the CMS construction and many other projects too. We began several physical safety and security updates, and we were able to get a lot of that work around additional cameras and installation, different things that were done yet this summer. On the CMS side of things, this is what the new front of Central Middle School will look like when it opens in the fall of 2021. And we started engaging right away on May 15th with our students and staff and families and community to finalize those designs. It's been a really highly collaborative process, and it's really exciting that what that will look like. We're going to break ground here this spring, and we'll be under construction for about 16 months. So we're going to be asking for some patience as we do all that work. I'm living with it because I have a daughter who's in 7th grade and going to be in 8th grade next year at CMS. Well, it's under construction the whole time, and I hear about it every night because I have a 4th grader who'll be the first 6th grade class to take advantage of it. So it's a lot of fun. But it will be exciting to see how that takes shape, and the amazing experiences and opportunities that's going to provide for our students as we open up that building and we move our 6th graders into that building. At the same time, in fall of 2021, we're going to be moving our Little Eagles preschool out to our neighborhood schools to ensure that our earliest learners have incredible opportunities and our families and our students get connected with our wonderful schools and engage in those rich learning experiences for their families. And so we're really excited about what that's going to look like as well. We also started planning on spaces. And we started having teachers come together, have conversations with their students, and start to look at how do we support personalized learning in all of our classrooms. And it was an exciting process for them to hear from their students and co-design to be able to start to transform classrooms. We had about 50 to 60 classrooms that were actually updated over the winter break. And as opposed to me talking about that, I actually want you to hear those voices of those students and staff as they plan and what that feels like for them. And so I'm going to flip over here.
I teach kindergarten students, and when they walked in on the day after break, they were blown away, and the first couple of days they were kind of in shock that they actually get to use this furniture, and they were so excited to be able to try out every piece of furniture, especially the soft seating, and they have been really motivated and engaged.
If I'm more comfortable, I'm more focused because I don't need to be like comfortable, like I just need to move to get more focused. I'm just focused, and when I get on, I'm comfortable, and I can focus very hard, and then I get good grades.
I think it's really nice. I think it helps us learn and make our space just a lot bigger and better, because with those desks you're just cramped into this like small space, and I know we're trying to focus more on learning with our peers for later in life, so I think that really helps the school do what they're trying to teach us.
So they're able to work with many more people at a time in the class, and they're also able to kind of get their movement out to hopefully help them focus. And I've had a few students say, oh, I've actually got my homework done now because I've realized it's keeping me moving.
I've been in this room for 27 years, and so it's just been a really nice fresh change. It's been motivating for them. It doesn't feel like a traditional classroom setup. You know, I think I've noticed them more on task, more engaged.
Help me with my learning because when I rock, it makes me focus. And those things the record chairs have wheels, so I could roll a little bit while I work, and that really makes me focus. You should see our furniture. Like, we have lots of stuff. I don't want to tell you about it or I'll spoil it. So just if you come in, you'll be super surprised.
So I think that sums it up. You'll be super surprised, and it's also my invitation to you to come in and see. You know, we offer tours of our schools on a daily basis. If you want to come in and see what we're doing, please do. We'd love to have you in there because there's just wonderful things going on, and I'm so proud of the tradition of excellence that we have and how we continue to improve and of our staff and students. I just want to thank Pat again and the Chamber for hosting, and Rick for working collaboratively for the benefit of our students and our community on a daily basis. Eden Prairie Schools is just in a great spot as we work hard to inspire each student every day. Thank you so much, and I'll turn it over to Rick.
It would not be a state of the city for Eden Prairie if we did not have something fun to do or something exciting to do. So, first I want to start out by saying that I think everybody in this room could pretty much attest to the fact that you use social media in some way, shape, or form. It's two-way communication.
whether I'm not on Facebook, but I Snapchat quite a bit with my children. You've got Twitter, you've got Instagram. There's a lot going on with social media. So I thought what I would do for the State of the City address is kind of take a look back through the past year with the State of the City, pull out some of the social media interactions we've had to talk a little bit about what's going on with the State of the City. That's number one. Number two is, because I so much enjoy being a part of July 4th and Schooner Days, that involves bingo. So I thought what we could do, and there are prizes involved. The number one reason we're going to play bingo is so you pay attention to what I say. The second reason is that you can actually win prizes. So what we're going to do, honestly, when I mention an item that's on the bingo card and you mark it, if you get bingo in the traditional way we play bingo, 5 across, 5 down, 5 diagonally, you shout out bingo. It will not interrupt me. It won't be a problem, because Johnny is going to come around and bring your prize to you. So please, actively play bingo. Shout it out when you get bingo. I forgot about introductions. I want to mention quickly as well that we have great partnership with the school and the chamber. Thank you so much. And we do have with us our acting mayor, our vice mayor, Brad Aho, as council member. Mayor Case is out of town. And then we do have some city staff members here as well in our communications division. We have Johnny Gurmscheid. He's kind of the bingo guy, and Joyce Lorenz in communications. Ryan Higgins in our IT department, and everybody knows Dave Lindahl, economic development manager. All right, so have I said any of the bingo words yet? I might have. You get a free space in the middle. We'll see what happens. But let's go back to social media. So there's a Facebook post that we had recently that said, hey, I noticed that there's quite a bit of crane activity in Eden Prairie. There's a lot of construction going on. There's quite a bit of development. Johnny G says, well, what about Fat Pants Brewery? Did Fat Pants Brewery open? Yes, it did. We talked about that earlier. We're excited about Fat Pants Brewery, but we're also excited about a lot of the other development in the city, and SCHEELS is one of those projects. This is the year that SCHEELS open, is it not? That we have SCHEELS representation back here. We're really excited for your project. What's that? July 11th. July 11th. Grand opening of SCHEELS, so get ready. This is the year. 250,000 square feet of flagship retail space at Eden Prairie. I think it's going to be a great draw to our mall from across the region. So we're really excited about that. And if you've been by Southwest Station, Southwest Transit, you'll see that the Elevate project is completed. 222 apartment units that are currently occupied with retail below. And Brick and Bourbon, that's a pretty well-known restaurant in, I think, Stillwater and Maple Grove, that's going to be a main tenant at the Elevate at Southwest Station. Pat already mentioned we have representation here from Hampton Inn. Welcome. You're going to be our 13th hotel in Eden Prairie. So there's obviously that desire and that need for the limited service hotel. I know that our plan is to keep working toward kind of a full service banquet hotel, but Hampton Inn is going to be an awesome addition at the former IHOP site at the corner of Technology and Flying Cloud Drive. 105 rooms, is that right? 105 rooms, so we're really excited by that. Another project that's been talked about for, I want to say, at least 15 years or so is on the Presbyterian Homes site. And over in that location on Flying Cloud Drive near Prairie Center Drive, there's a few phases. If you've been by there, you've already noticed that the Broadmoor apartments have been demoed, and that's making way for the first phase of the project, which is the Castle Ridge Senior Development. So there's going to be 276 senior apartments to replace what will be the Castle Ridge development. And when that current development goes away, that's going to make way for another apartment complex called Paravel. I think that's what's pictured here. That's 246 units of affordable and market rate units as well, the Paravel project that's coming. And then the third phase on that site, known as Flying Cloud Commons, will have quite a bit of retail as a part of that. And I think this is somewhat new news that a Lake Winds grocery co-op will be anchoring that site. So we're pretty excited about that. Yes, we've got some cheers for. I don't know, is Lakewinds on the bingo card? It's not. No, it's not. Smith Village. In terms of development, if you make your way down Highway 212 toward Eden Prairie Road, Smith Village is another major housing development in Eden Prairie as well. There's going to be 58 workforce and affordable apartment units on the corner of 212 and Eden Prairie Road where the church once stood. Behind that will be 16 townhomes, and then behind that will be 100 senior housing units by United Properties known as Applewood Point. So if you kind of follow the trend here, there's a demand for senior apartments, market rate apartments, apartments that would go in around transit-oriented development. I didn't even mention, and this would have been last year, 3 or 4 other senior housing projects that are under construction in Eden Prairie in addition to the retail. So it's been a busy year for development, and I think, as you know, I'll talk about in the later slides, that does kind of play into the growing tax base that we have in the community. But there really is, it was really true that there were a lot of cranes in Eden Prairie this past year. Kind of moving along to another topic that's come up in the past year, and that is, well, what's going on with Southwest Light Rail? And I think I won't spend too much time on that because Pat alluded to us being in the midst of construction with light rail. In Eden Prairie alone, you have 1 major tunnel and you're going to have 5 bridges in our portion of the city. The bridge part's important because the city council, the community, and others have spent a lot of time making sure that the train is not at the same grade as our road network, being at a separated grade, but it also makes for a lot of construction. And if you're familiar with the route all the way to Target Field, a lot of that route follows the regional trail. Much of what's happening in Eden Prairie is kind of cutting its own swath through the community. So there'll be a lot of construction continuing into 2022, and the first riders should be on board in 2023. And you can see that there are still 4 stations in Eden Prairie and quite a bit of transit-oriented development that's happening around that area. Also, I think a question that we had this summer on our Facebook page was, when is Flying Cloud Drive going to open down by the Lions Tap? I want to be able to get through that area. This is probably from this past summer because this fall, Flying Cloud Drive did open up. And there was a huge partnership with the county and the city, and Eden Prairie Road down in that area as well was reconstructed. Is Dean still here? Dean Edstrom? That's right. Yeah, wake up! Because you can now, Dean, have a less steep, more winding scenic drive down to Lions Tap from your house on Eden Prairie Road. But there was quite a bit of construction. If you go down there, there's a lot of retaining walls, as you can see here, that were part of that construction project. And also, if you've been over by the library and the town center area between Anderson Lakes Parkway and Prairie Center Drive, Preserve Boulevard was a major reconstruction project as well. So we added additional lanes, we added pedestrian access, trail access, we improved stormwater, and there's also going to be a public art installation as part of that. Oh, all right. I'm sorry, Olinda. Hold your card. Check your card, Johnny. Check your card.
Flying Cloud Drive, Hampton Inn, Free Space, Smith Village, and Preserve Boulevard. We have a good bingo.
We have a bingo. Nice. That's not the only bingo out there, though. There are more winners. Many more winners. Good job. She did a great example of how we play the game, and I wasn't even paying attention the first time. I thought bingo was she was excited about Preserve Boulevard. I'm like, yeah, I like that project too. All right, a little bit of Instagram action. So on Instagram, we were able to put out how excited we were at our Starring Lake Park, which has had a lot of work as well. We had a new building constructed there. You might have been familiar with, I guess I'll call it almost a warming house that was there. But now we're very excited about a pretty state-of-the-art year-round building that is available to use not only when the park is open and the skating is utilized and the sledding hill is utilized, there's the ability for people to rent different rooms. I know a few people I've talked to are actually going to be using that for a wedding. But Starring Lake has undergone quite a bit of work with the new pickleball courts and the basketball courts and the park improvements. So from a park perspective, that's a nice addition to the community. So you can see a few more pictures of the building there as well. We've also had a few of our residents here, in this case, Josh S. asks on Facebook. Josh wonders, is there a place in Eden Prairie where I could take my branches, my leaves, and my twigs and my yard waste? Up until hopefully this year, there has not been a place, but there will be a place in Eden Prairie in 2020 to drop off your yard waste. And that's located hopefully near, on our city, we have a city storage site where we store some of our equipment and our material west of the airport near the landfill. And the city council's approved construction of a yard waste site where our residents will be able to bring branches, leaves, twigs, and other items. You're looking like that's new to you. I thought that was a Facebook post that came in from a Josh S. Yes, and there's a image of that. Next door. Next door. We love next door. Next door is where so many conversations occur amongst our residents. And I didn't put more of the interesting comments up there, but there really is a lot of good information. And in this case, we had a resident that was touting our, actually in a partnership with XL Energy, so they've been an excellent partner, our Energy Squad visits as part of our Sustainable Eden Prairie program. So we've had people that have been signing up for the Wind Source program, for the Home Energy Squad visits. I've talked to people that have said, you know, for the $50, the city actually wrote down a portion of that for a while. For the $50, I think it's $100 at most. That alone paid for the LED lights that were outfitted in the homes that are visited. And we're going to continue to do that and focus on another major activity that the City Council is committed to leadership on, and that's a climate action plan. So the City Council should be receiving sometime this spring a climate action plan where the City of Eden Prairie plans to and hopes to citywide, not just city operations, be carbon neutral by at least 2050. And there are several different ways to get at that. One way from the perspective of the city is solar. So we've been designated a solar smart community. We've put on solar arrays on many of our buildings. We've covered our city center, our maintenance building, our water treatment plant, and when we complete a solar array over our community center, we'll be able to say that the city of Eden Prairie is 100% renewable when it comes to our own energy costs for the city. Obviously, the climate action plan discusses the community as a whole, so we want to do quite a bit of business outreach as well. So that plays into transportation, and that's where a big chunk of your energy costs are. As a city, we want to move to an all-electric fleet or a more electric fleet. We do have city electric vehicles, and within the next week, we're going to be one of the first cities in the state to have 2 all-electric Ford F-250 3/4 ton pickup trucks that not only are utility vehicles, but we're able to put a plow on those pickup trucks and actually plow city streets. And these are vehicles that more than pay for themselves in terms of the maintenance over time. So it's not something that we've even had to say that we need to budget more for or raise our budget for. What we're also looking at, and a few cities in California have done this, and that is moving to an all-electric police fleet. And we may be one of the first cities in Minnesota to partner with Tesla and look at bringing in police squad cars that are all electric. So that's something that we're looking at in the near future as well. Also, next door, you may hear about the fact that we did a city survey, a community survey this past year. Every other year, we survey our residents in a statistically significant manner on how we're doing, how we are as a community, how our services are as we get ready to build our budget, build our work plans. And I think it was just exactly about a year ago we conducted that survey, and I just have a couple quick slides. There are 36 community characteristics in a city, and we have a survey company that surveys hundreds of cities throughout the country. They're not only able to tell us how we compare to our neighbors in the metro area. They compare us, they benchmark us to similar size, let's say affluent suburbs of urban areas throughout the entire United States. And we're very pleased to get the results that say of 36 community characteristics. And what I mean by that would be, how are you as a place to live, as a place to retire, to raise a family, just all the characteristics of a community. That 28 of the 36 characteristics were quite a bit higher than the national average. We are lower in no area, and in a few areas we have similar ratings. The most important piece, the meat and potatoes of what we do, is the city service delivery. That's the everyday work of the police department, the fire department, water, sewer. In that area, in almost all the characteristics as well, we do very well in terms of the service we provide. And not only in the 24 areas are we higher than the national average in most of them, there's 18 areas of just general city service delivery where we're top 10 in the nation. So that's something that our city council will look at and say, well, we don't want to take away any of that level of service that we have in the community for the taxes that people pay. So in terms of the survey results, we're a community that's safe. We're a community that provides a high level of city service. We have one of the premier park and recreation systems, we think, in the country as a city. And there are, and I'll get to that middle explanation in a second, but Josh is right on. Josh did not see any of my slides, but I have to have a slide related to taxation. And in this case, we do compete very well with other cities in our area of similar size and having a pretty low tax burden and hopefully still being able to deliver services at a higher level. So that being said, in conclusion, our results came back very positively. We have a very good economy. One issue is affordability of housing. So two things that the City Council has done recently is appoint a task force of residents to focus on housing, affordable housing, and variety of housing. And also, as Pat mentioned, an entrepreneurship program that the mayor and the chamber and the school are working on to build our entrepreneur group. So I'm going to say right now, I know for a fact that there are 2 other 3 winning bingo cards out there, and I'm not happy with the fact that I have not heard bingo after I said housing task force, entrepreneurship, or taxes. I did not say coyote. Who has 4? Who's like 1 away? All right, so let's go. What do you have? Lisa, what do you need?
Adopt a street.
Ouch, okay. Michael, what do you need?
Night.
Sorry. You got coyote? No?
I have bingo.
Yes! Yes, see? All right, Johnny will bring a prize over. There's a few more, but I could talk about coyotes, but maybe I'll save that for next year. All right, last couple topics. So in terms of building community, bingo, civic engagement, and being involved in your community, our feeling is the more that you know about your city, the more you're going to be involved, the more trust that you're going to have, the more involvement that you're going to have. You all being here today are many of those individuals that do that, but what we've done for the last few years is created a city government academy. There are many academies that are out there, citizen academies that usually focus on public safety, and our academy, and right now we're taking applications if you live or work in Eden Prairie for our academy. We want to have people kind of get behind the scenes of what a city employee does, whether you're a cop or a firefighter or a city council member. You get the feel for what it's like to be a part of the city. So that's our piece of citizen engagement. And not only is citizen engagement a huge part of Eden Prairie, so is our sense of community. And our council has been very focused on wanting to have enhanced community events. So you may all be familiar with the 3rd and 4th of July. I talked a little bit about Schooner Days as well. We've had some events with cops, police officers, and firefighters as well. Our People Fest event is an all-inclusive event, and this will be the 3rd year that we're having a People Fest event. In the 2nd year of the event, we doubled our attendance in year number 2, so we're pretty excited for year number 3. And then I want to end with what will be hopefully a new signature event in Eden Prairie, and that will be a parade. Yes, good job. Been waiting for parade. A city parade. It had been the mayor's hope that the city would kind of bring a parade to the 3rd or 4th of July event. There are many parades in cities surrounding us, but the Lions Club stepped up and said, as part of Schooner Days, we're going to bring a parade to Eden Prairie on May 30th at Schooner Days. So that's something that we're very excited about having in the community, in addition to the other events that we have. So with that, I wanted to make sure that I wrapped up by 1 o'clock. I think I did, Pat. And I appreciate your patience with playing bingo and being here today. Thank you.
No Packers. All right. Just some final thank yous. On behalf of the Chamber, the city, and the schools, we want to thank you all for being here and supporting our community. Thank you to our sponsors, Commuter Services, Wings Financial, and Excel. With that, a thank you to Bear Path for hosting us, and enjoy your afternoon.